Hey guys, Omni here. So I know we're a little late to this. I was out of town over the weekend, so I do apologize. And most of you have probably already seen this by now, but this is going to be my first time diving into this since episode 3 of Loki dropped. We are going to be heading over to our favorite breakdown channel, New Rockstars, to hear Eric Voss go through episode 3, point out the details we might have missed, as well as some Easter eggs and whatnot. And of course, as always, a little bit of speculation here and there. So guys, if you haven't seen my reaction to the episode, go check that out. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, if you like this video, subscribe, stick around. Anyway, guys, we've waited, or you guys have probably already watched this by now, but I've waited too many days now to check this out, so let's go ahead and dive right into it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Loki episode 3, Lamentis, in which Loki and Sylvie play a game of who is enchanting whom. Folks, there's so much to break down, from huge reveals about the TVA to Asgardian and other alien languages to translate, maybe even huge portions of this episode that might be one of our variants trapping the other in an illusion. So let's loose the juice from our temp pad and drop in. The episode opens in an illusion that the Loki variant Sylvie placed TVA hunter C20 under during the events of episode 2. So opening this episode in an illusion instructs us as viewers to watch this episode very carefully. Because notice how over the Marvel Studios title lean into this, we hear this music.
There's something in the water.
This is called Demons by Haley Kiyoko, which is fitting for the way Sylvie and Loki are called devils this episode.
You're no travelers, you're devils.
And the way Sylvie has been compared to a demon in stained glass, and the lyrics of the song refer to having demons in one's head and say there's something in the water, all reflecting how Sylvie is in C20's head, using a reconstructed memory of fruity drinks to intoxicate C20 into revealing TVA secrets. Later this episode, Sylvie reveals that this particular memory from C20 was from hundreds of years prior, from C20's past as a human on Earth before she became a variant, confirming the theory that I shared in last week's Miss Minutes video that all TVA employees are variants with memories wiped and forced into servitude by the timekeepers, which poses all kinds of implications, like perhaps Mobius was a jet ski salesman in his past life, maybe from San Diego, judging from that snow globe in Renslayer's office that Mobius didn't remember getting. That could have been his precious relic that was kept in evidence.
Or it could be another Mobius. Maybe there's multiple Mobius variants. That's also a possibility. Now, we haven't seen any duplicate people at the TVA, but there's got to be a lot of people staffed there, and I'm sure they don't always run in tandem with each other. And he doesn't know about this person, so who knows? It could be another Mobius.
Also, maybe Renslayer could have been a teacher or a principal at Franklin D. Roosevelt High School that pen was from. But this also explains why C20 was so panicked, repeating, it was real, after coming out of her enchantment, showing that her visions of her past life weren't just fantastical dreams, but subconscious memories of real events. Remember, B-15 also looked shaken. I suspect she too could have been linked with her past life. Now, the opening shot of the episode is this tropical-themed mug of a head, half drained, reflecting the way C20's mind is being drained by Sylvie in this moment. They discuss brain freezes, but only C20 gets one. Maybe Sylvie doesn't get one because Loki variants are technically frost giants. They're not affected by cold. But check out that patron in the background on the right. Looks a bit like Pietro Maximoff. I mean, I only mention it because Sylvie's enchantment works similar to Wanda's Hex reality, which also featured an alternate reality Pietro in it. There's actually a lot of parallels. Like later when Sylvie screams in frustration, her green sorcery blasts out like a shockwave, similar to how Wanda's agonized scream created a shockwave. Just could be a sign that variant Lokis could be potential Nexus beings with capabilities of setting the terms of a single reality, similar to how Wanda did. And if you think about it, Wanda did create the Westview Hex out of grief over Vision's absence. And what does Loki say to Sylvie
twisting of her
here?
spine still gets me.
lack vision.
Lack vision. But the illusions also work the same way, because notice that moment C20 suspects something is off about the reality, Sylvie switches it, jumping ahead suddenly to nighttime, similar to how whenever a glitch in the Matrix
jump
happened in
cut
Westview, Wanda would
was just as
edit
haunting
past it and progress
as
forward in
these.
time. In that case, a sitcom decade forward. Also, Sylvie grabs C20's wrist to get her to refocus on her after the switch, showing how physical contact is needed to form that neural link for the enchantment. Now the music has changed to Deep Blue by Ladytron, 1, with lyrics foreshadowing the whole journey ahead for Sylvie on Lamentis 1, seeking a power station on a train out of town. Hey, by the way, included in our Loki-inspired merch is our latest augmented reality shirt, which, when viewed through an AR app, the God of Mischief comes alive. Folks who have already gotten it have sent us some awesome videos. Really, grabbing merch like this is the best way you can support new and a custom shout out in our Inside Marvel after show. Sylvie infiltrates the TVA, passing this poster that reads, "The timeline is only as strong as its weakest moment," with his agent all tangled up in the timeline. Ironic considering this is exactly what Sylvie has just done to the TVA. But notice that TVA cop scream as Sylvie erases him. And his wail is digitally filtered, actually similar to the sound of Neo's scream that moment he got unplugged in Matrix.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
And that may be what Sylvie is doing here, unplugging these mind slaves and restoring them to their natural states, which might be why it seems to bring her so much satisfaction to do it. Loki snatches Sylvie's tempad and depletes its juice,
so like
leaving them
they're not
marooned
being
on
erased,
Lamentis
but
1
reset.
In the year
Is that what they're
2077,
saying?
as another planet is
Or
about
what
to
he's
collide
saying?
with it. Melancholia style. Actually, kind of like the way Thanos grabbed a moon and threw it at Titan. But Lamentis,
Dude, what if
actually
that
in
was the
comics,
moon? That
it's
would
an
be so
outworld
fucking
planet on
funny.
the edge of Kree space. It's from the Annihilation
I
prologue
saw that
issue,
in the
which
comments
features the
from
destruction
some of you
Xandar.
guys.
Now, 2077 would be about 6 decades after Xandar's off-screen destruction by Thanos prior to Infinity War. So perhaps we're now seeing the aftermath of the Nova Corps' inability to protect Xandar's colonies. Here, Lamentis 1 is a mining colony, I think based on LV-426 and Aliens, which we know was a reference for this episode based on the guards being named Private Hudson and Corporal Hicks, which are
Oh,
Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn's
wow.
characters in
I
Aliens.
didn't
Sylvie tries to enchant
catch that.
Loki, but her
Damn.
magic flickers out on his head the way it did with the TVA.
What's he doing?
What are you doing?
Sylvie's reaction makes me think Loki in this moment might have tried to rebound the spell and enchant her. From this moment on, it's not really clear if either have been enchanted, but it
no,
is
that was-
weird
I
the
think that
meteor
was
shower
her
outside
Okay. That was definitely her just trying to play dumb about having tried to enchant him. Like, cause it didn't work. And he's just like, what are you doing? And as you would, like a lot of people do, is like, what are you doing? Like, it was just a defensive thing. I don't think he tried to actually enter her mind. I don't know. That's one of these Eric Voss grasping at straws things, but I'll let it live.
sides after this, despite this oncoming planet coming closer. On the walk, they bicker.
Don't call me variant.
I'm sorry about not calling some faded photocopy of me, Loki.
Good, because that's not who I am anymore. I'm Sylvie now.
Oh, you changed your name. Brilliant.
It's called an alias.
This confirms that Sylvie did begin a Loki variant, but due to Loki's sex fluidity, just takes a female form. But the name Sylvie was an alias that she chose. So despite using the term enchant a lot, she's not exactly Sylvie Lushton Enchantress from the comics, but really a
Goddamn.
new character inspired
Just
by
saying.
both Lady Loki and Enchantress. And they enter this town that is covered with alien lettering, which from what I can tell matches neither the Skrull language written on Rocket Scanner and Guardians of the Galaxy, nor the established MCU Kree alphabet, making me wonder if this could be Xandarian, but we don't really have a way to translate, but that won't stop me, folks! So look at the structure that Sylvie walks up to trying to trick Loki into handing over the tempad to charge it. That top word has 6 characters, and using the substitution decoding process I used for the Riddler cipher in the Batman trailer, you always start by looking for repeating symbols, and some do repeat. The 2nd and the 4th are the same letter, and the 3rd and the 5th are another letter. So we're looking at a sequence of 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. So then you gotta do some guesswork based on really whatever the most commonly used letters tend to be in combinations with each other. I'm wondering if those could be R-E-R-E, and the word could be prereq for pre-requirements, and all those names in red on the side being the names of colonists given priority status for evacuation, which is why this building would be the one building left in town with the lights on. This is what I do with my time. So Sylvie kicks open the door to the trailer only to be blasted with a gun. Which looks
That
a lot like a
pause.
recreation of that moment the bride tried to get the drop on Bud in Kill Bill Volume 2. Inside, Loki
Oh,
notices
so
the
good.
woman's framed photo with her husband. Kind of looks like a nod to Grant Wood's American Gothic, but common misconception that does not depict a married couple, but a farmer and his daughter. Kind of similar to how Loki and Hela
I
are
never knew that.
siblings in the MCU, but in Norse mythology, Hela is Loki's daughter. So at the train station is a line of angry colonists trying to evacuate,
should have known
including
that.
some kids, and you know what that means, camera, lens, eye contact. But further back in the line, there are these two guys that appear to be twins, which could be another interesting Matrix parallel. Because in that woman in the red dress scene, the Wachowskis populated the extras that bumped into Neo with twins. Twins! Really as a way to evoke this dreamlike simulation. This could be another possible clue that this may be Loki or Sylvie.
I've never noticed that. There are many times I've seen The Matrix.
But real quick, I want to do a Loki and change my shirt. But before we continue, thanks to Displate for sponsoring this video. Displate makes high quality art prints on metal. They have over up to 37% if you buy 3 or more displates. They
Guys,
mount
if you
on your
want
wall with a
displates,
magnet,
go
note
use their
your
link.
own Displate. Now, the wealthy getting elite access to this train is a bit similar to Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer, in which he uses a train as kind of a Marxist allegory, in which the rich get luxury cars at the front, but that capitalist engine ultimately serves no one, similar to how this train leads to no one's escape from destruction. Now, Loki has to sit in the backwards-facing seat on the train. Trains also feature prominently in the movie Inception, where in the opening sequence, Nash and Arthur sit in a train car backwards, facing the mark, Saito, who was actually trapped in their false reality. I mean, I just find it interesting that they called attention to the seating like this, and after some indeterminate amount of time, Sylvie wakes up, confused, now facing the opposite direction in the frame, and this was after Loki had asked her earlier,
"How long do we have?"
12 hours or so.
And now Sylvie refers to her memory as
Just blips of a dream at this point.
Now, Sylvie learned earlier than Loki did in her timeline that she was adopted and had to teach herself magic, making me think that her mother figure from her timeline might not have been Frigga. On one event report that Loki read in episode 2, the name Sylvie Laufeydotter appeared, the surname being instead of Laufey's son of Laufey, daughter of Laufey. So I wonder if perhaps Sylvie's maternal figure could have been Hela, who in her timeline might have accompanied Odin in that battle against the Frost Giants, in which Laufey's offspring was taken as a ward, and that Hela could have left an impression on Sylvie, maybe even given her that sword before Hela was banished by Odin. Sylvie also reveals having a lover.
Managed to maintain quite a serious long-distance relationship with a postman whilst running across time from one apocalypse to another.
She could be referring to Stan Lee, who did appear as a FedEx delivery driver in Civil War and then bragged about that to the Watchers in Guardians Volume 2. By the way, he also cameoed in the 2005 Fantastic
forgot about
Four
these.
film as a mailman. Some are also saying it could be that delivery
That's the
driver
one I
in
thought of.
Westview.
That was my
This one
first
reminds
thought.
me of the song Nick Fury used to inspire the name Captain Marvel.
Marvel sounds a lot better, you know, like the Marvelettes. Wait, oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Fury would be an interesting pairing for Sylvie, but why not the person who ended up taking that name, Carol Danvers? Because Loki reveals himself as bisexual,
A bit of both. I suspect the same as you.
and Sylvie doesn't really argue with that. And Carol would have been a superpowered galaxy hopper whose whereabouts were unknown from 1995 to 2018. So Sylvie wakes up to find Loki singing. Now, according to the captions, this
Not
is
sure
an
exactly what he was
Asgardian,
getting
making this
there
the
with
first time
the
we've
Carol
heard
Danvers thing.
Asgardian as a language in the MCU, though it's really Norwegian. His lyrics translate to, "In stormy black mountains, I wander alone. Over the iceberg, I pull myself forth. In the apple garden stands the maiden fair, and I sing, 'When will you come home?'" Loki, drunk, calls back Thor's move in the first Thor film.
Another!
Another! And he tells Sylvie that he's not drunk, just full, which is another in-joke because in Norwegian, to be full means to be drunk. Loki gives an answer for their chat about what love is.
Love is a dagger, but ultimately when you reach for it.
It isn't real.
Recalling the famous soliloquy in Shakespeare's Macbeth, when Macbeth hallucinates an imaginary dagger. Perhaps here, the dagger is a symbol of Loki's betrayal of Sylvie, with everything they're going through being a kind of dagger of Loki's enchantment. Now, during the brawl, notice how Sylvie uses her crown as a weapon. This is a move that Loki did in Thor Ragnarok. And as Sylvie pulls her sword out of the bar, you can barely make out some writing on it. They look like Viking runes, similar to the ones that are carved into Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. In this case, they're kind of hard to translate, but to me, it looks like TH, and then HSU, and then maybe SUPN. I don't know, there's like a dozen different Norse rune alphabets out there, and I haven't been able to line up any of these perfectly. I like how when Loki hits the ground outside the train, he makes the same plank pose that he did when hitting the sanctum floor after falling for 30 minutes in Ragnarok. And then he reveals the temp pad, but it is broken. Though, again, perhaps what we are looking at here is just part of an illusion by Loki to manipulate Sylvie into revealing exactly how her enchantment works. Because only now does Sylvie finally reveal that she mind controls by
See, I don't
reconstructing
think
memories.
Loki's
She
got...
also reveals to Loki that the TVA
I
are
don't know.
actually memory
I don't
wiped variants.
feel... I
which are
didn't get that
big
vibe
things
from Loki
has
at all
gained
that
through
he's
this
trying to
experience,
manipulate
which then
her.
leads to this seemingly impossible long take through the collapsing city of Sharu. Now, at first glance, this awesome looking sequence appears to be a 3-minute unbroken long take, but like many long takes in movie and film, it is actually several shots stitched together, with hidden cuts if you look closely. Shot 1, Loki and Sylvie enter through the tunnel. Loki steps on a barrier to see the gates closing, and then the camera pans as 2 runners pass the frame. Cut on the pan there.
Yeah, right
Shot
there.
2, following the 2 of them down the alley. Camera orbits them a few times, and then crane up on a VFX shot of that colliding planet cracking in half, and then a meteor striking a nearby building, flashing the frame. Cut there. Now on to shot 3 of them as they duck from debris and run towards an explosion that blows them back, tilting the camera and filling the frame with smoke. Cut there. To shot 4 where the camera tilts back up with Loki's rise, and then they run into that
Watching
cafe.
these
They
like
confront some
stitching
guards. I think
breakdowns
there were
is
some
like
cuts hidden
really
in there on the stunts,
fascinating
but
sometimes.
definitely a cut when the camera passes a beam onto shot 5 as they run and have their way cut off, and they take cover. They follow another running woman back to that same building that collapses. Crane up on a VFX shot of that collapse. Cut there. To shot 6, where they run and Loki freezes that tower from crushing them, reverses it back up, and then right after, as Loki runs right.
See, I want to
with
know what
the
he says
whip
about
hand,
that.
There's a really hard to spot cut there. Notice Loki's body from 2 different shots are layered on top of each other, barely overlapping, leading to shot 7, where Loki and Sylvie fight off the last of the guards at the gate, only to see the Ark get destroyed by meteors. As Loki's charm foreshadowed, we got some fireworks. Now, notice that in their last moves, Loki and Sylvie do these same leg sweeps on the guards, mirror images of each other. Some are saying that Loki might have used a stolen time stone to stop and reverse that tower collapse.
We would have seen the
after
runes,
Loki
right?
used telekinesis to summon that Roomba, I later realized that we've also seen Loki use telekinesis to throw over all the furniture in that prison cell in the Dark World. So this is something that he can
even when
do. Also, that time
Strange
stone only would
and
have worked if
Thanos
Lamentis
have
1
used it before, we
2077
see
is
like that
exact
glyph
rune
appear.
timeline that
So
that time stone was taken from. And since Sylvie
it'd have to
created a
be-
whole bunch of branches with their bombing, I just think it would be really hard for Loki to think ahead so perfectly. Also, I'm pretty sure we heard that time stone clunk back in the drawer.
yeah. Yep.
Really,
right there.
if Loki had a
I mean,
functional time stone here, he would have used it in dozens of ways. But I still believe it is possible that for all of these events on Lamentis 1, or at least part of Sylvie after waking up the train at some point, could be part of Loki's enchantment on her, designed to gain Sylvie's trust to learn what he needed about the TVA.
if he does that,
can turn
that's
her
so
in and
dirty.
get back in their good graces. Whether or not that's the case, not being quite
What was that
sure
shot
if
from?
we're under Loki's enchantment at any given moment.
Was it from that
is what makes the
mid-season
show so
trailer that I didn't
enchanting.
watch?
And the credit
God damn
sequence
it.
has been updated with photos of Loki and Sylvie together, evoking how Loki called her a poor photocopy of him. Here, both are black and white photocopies, all while Bonnie Guitar's Dark Moon plays, with the lyrics paralleling the way Loki and Sylvie's scheme was cut off by a dark moon. Or it was a planet. It looked like a moon. But
And it looks like Pac-Man.
anyway, support this channel by checking out our...
All right, guys, that's the end of that one. So I didn't see that shot. I know I've talked about it before. I don't remember if that was any of the original trailers, because I've stopped. Usually when a series stops, or when a series starts, I don't watch any of the shit in between. So I haven't seen if that was from this new trailer that came out like for the mid-season or whatever. I didn't see that shot, so definitely that didn't flow into any of the theories or the speculations that I've had since then. So if she ends up in the hands of the TVA, maybe Loki is playing her. Maybe he was trying to figure out how she does what she did, and he did while she was asleep put her under a spell. Because right now, like wherever they are currently, I feel like, because even if he still had the temp pad, it still was working or anything like that after the fact, he would be the way out. Because the question is right now, what's their way off of Lamentis? Because they're, as they said before, hiding in these apocalypses, and there are many, and he picked a random one from a list. It would be really convenient for the TVA to just happen to stumble upon this event and be there to allow them access to another temp pad to get off of this planet, or to capture them and take them back to the TVA. Because the big question left after the end of the last episode is, how are they getting off the planet? My thought was like, well, I figured the TVA will probably just show up and snatch them during this moment. But that's, again, I feel like that would just be lazy as far as like writing them out of this situation. But I didn't know what any of the other outs would be unless they found another power source in this city that could charge their temp pad. They're left with very few options. And if this theory does pan out, that the Loki we've been following throughout the episode did, in fact, from her own words and how she described it, allowed him to learn how to do her enchantment and put her under the spell to make her see a broken temp pad, to make her see that paranoia on the train, to make her see their only way off this planet to explode, break her down and just kind of win her trust and earn that knowledge from her as well. It also feels like a little too smart of a play for Loki, because we've seen him do some stuff, but that's like some 5D chess I don't think we've really seen him play before. So I don't know. Also, I would, at this point, feel bad if that is the case, especially if she has been telling the truth. Of course, right now, both of them being the gods of mischief that they are, both of them could be fibbing about everything. Like, he could be playing her to get her trust, and she could be telling him exactly what she wants to tell him, what he wants to hear to win him over. Each other's sympathies for one another could be feigned in the benefit of the other. Who knows? Maybe they're both doing it. But like, I, in the moment, felt the sincerity of a lot of their back and forth. And I think that's where a lot of that like chemistry was coming from in there. So in the end of this, if she's the one that gets betrayed, because I would expect our Loki to get betrayed by her. But I always like, I would feel bad if like, I don't know. I'd feel bad if either of them betrayed the other at this point, because she's on, I don't know. We still don't really know what she really intends to do with the TVA. So I don't know. I just feel like it's really easy to sympathize for her and our Loki. So like wanting them to be a team and overcome this, given our revelations about the TVA and this dictatorship over the timeline, this true death of free will that they've instilled in all of reality. Like it's not really just affecting them. It's affecting everyone, every variant that's ever been, every life that has ever changed. It's kept people on a path that maybe they should have or would have wanted to go off in a different way, but the TVA kept things in check because that's not the timeline that they approved. So there is like a tragic element of that she's fighting against this system, because this system was created in a way that objects to her entire existence. So I don't know. I would, in that vein, if she's telling the truth about her motives and why she's doing what she's doing, it would make me feel pretty bad if Loki did betray her at this point. Because at this point, like, also, I was still upset, of course, that Loki, betrayed Mobius. But of course, with this knowledge, I've said, of course, like 1,000 times now, if he takes this knowledge that he's learned and transfers that over into the TVA, what can that do? How would that shake things up? What would that do if he instilled that knowledge with Mobius? So, or what if getting captured is part of their plan? I don't know. We're just going to have to see. Again, if there's anything in there that teases what might be coming in episode 4, 5, and 6, in that mid-season trailer thing, I didn't watch it. So that little clip, I don't remember ever seeing it in any of the pre-show material. So don't tell me if I'm right or wrong or whatever. But we'll see. I want to know what you guys think, though. So at this point, I'm going to pass it off to you guys. Sound off in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this, subscribe, stick around. Check out my reactions when they drop. We're going to be finishing Loki. every Marvel MCU show that comes out on Disney Plus, we will be reacting to on the channel, as well as the Star Wars stuff. I cover a lot of DC things as well. So if you're interested in any of that, I hope you do stick around. But that all being said, guys, before we go, I do want to shout out our patron legends, Mandy Sherritt, Ryan Karen, and Jason Coleman. Thank you guys so much for your support. Guys, we have a Discord channel open. Links to that and all my socials in the description of this video. So I hope to see you there. If not, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.